End of week outlook for the Texans. CJ Stroud down. Texans still favored, but can DeMeco be trusted? Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localized. Every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localized every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital.
Favored. Texans favored. No CJ Stroud. Still favored against the Jacksonville Jaguars. What gives? And can DeMeco Ryans, or should I say DeMeco no O, can he be trusted at this point? You won't believe some of the things he had to say. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. The best app, not just the best DFS app, the best sports app in the game. It is my scoring app. It should be your scoring app. Shout out to everyone that plays higher, lower too. The DFS app, it's the best there too. But as far as just scores and everything, I love it. If you haven't tried higher, lower, very simple. If you think someone's going to get more yards than what's posted, you say higher, lower, it adds up, odds get better. Chances are, if you bet the lower on the Texans, then you probably made a lot of money this week. So get the $20 free entry, no deposit needed. Get a 100% match when you use the promo code LOCKER and enjoy the greatness that is Sleeper. All right, not too great is the Texans offense. It might be the worst offense that we've seen going back to blank. It's easily worse than any offense I think we saw with Bill O'Brien. It might be worse than any offense we saw with Pep Hamilton or Tim Kelly. And a lot of the blame is being pointed in the direction of Nick Caley, which I get. He looks incompetent. He doesn't know when to play guys. The biggest fear that we had heading into this game was Christian Kirk would return, and all of a sudden the rookies would be forgotten. That played out. When he gets close to the goal line against a good team, his nuts shrivel into the size of BBs, and he's scared to run quarterback sneaks. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He also seems to have a lot of Patriot tendencies. He has no creativity. And it's a lost cause with Nick Caley. Now, the other thing about it is that Bobby Slowick was here last year, and we got used to saying, damn it, Bobby, until we saw Nick Caley appear.
Damn it, Bobby.
Which makes you wonder, is there something deeper to this? Could this be a situation where a defensive-minded head coach like DeMeco Ryans just doesn't have a grasp of the other side of the ball? That was the concern when he was hired. And early on, it looked good with Bobby Slowick until it didn't. And teams started to adjust. And as the Texas defense remained consistent with DeMeco Ryans, the offense started to falter. And you thought maybe, new guy coming in, it would look different, but it looks the same. And you got to wonder if it's a deeper rooted problem. This is going to be the thing that prevents DeMeco Ryans from taking the next step if he's not able to figure it out. This is going to be it. He's got to figure out what is going on his offense and why this is an issue. Is it a mindset thing? I don't know. Is it a just coincidence where you just happen to have the same looking offense, even worse, 2 consecutive years? I don't know. But I think the more you listen to DeMeco, no O, talk about offense, the more you kind of wonder, does this guy know what he's doing? Like, we give him kind of the benefit of the doubt that there's some paranoia, and I do think that exists when he talks, but then kind of when you hear him, you just wonder, does this guy really know what's going on the offensive side of the rock? Furthermore, is he going to be able to evolve? Because a lot of times, he's mentioned the word evolve. Coaches, what they were early in their careers is not what they are later on in their careers. Is he open-minded enough to be able to evolve? I think there is reasonable doubt if you watch the way that he speaks and the way that he carries himself. I think there is reasonable doubt that he is going to figure it out on offense, or he is going to be able to evolve. I think it's reasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable at all to wonder if that is going to be the state of things. And we'll hear from him in a second, but let's go through the state of the Texans. We do this after Monday Night Football every Monday. We look at where the Texans sit in the standings. And right now the Texans, they are behind 8 other teams in the AFC. There are 8 teams in the AFC that currently possess a winning record. The Texans are sitting in 3-5, and they got a lot of distance between them and getting into the playoff standings. So the Texans right now, they've got to win the next 2 games. 5-5 is still attainable. That's the good thing. That's what we said after 0-3. We said they got to go 5-5 to even have a puncher's chance. Now, at times it looked like they might be able to do better than that, but the problem is they can't beat good teams. And the Texans, again, Broncos, don't know how good they are. They didn't look too great. Quarterback didn't look good. Couldn't complete a deep ball. I mean, I guess the law of averages eventually caught up, and he was able to complete a couple, and the Texans offense wasn't able to separate themselves. But the Texans lost another game to a good team. So now there's 8 teams in the AFC with winning records, and the Texans are not one of them. The Texans are actually tied now with the Baltimore Ravens, who they got their quarterback back. They're getting healthy, and it looks like the Baltimore Ravens are about to go on a run. If you look at the layout of their schedule, their division, it looks like the Baltimore Ravens could potentially be one of those teams that goes on a run. And it would not shock me at all to see them get hot. That's just kind of what happens when you have an MVP quarterback, a good coach, and good players. That's what happens. Or that's what should happen. Baltimore right now, they're in the same place as you. And they were without their starting quarterback for a long time. So all this talk about, no CJ Stroud. Texans, 2 of their 3 wins have come against teams with backup quarterbacks. You should be able to win a game with Mills. And the Texans, they open up as a 1.5-point favorite against the Jags. Despite the fact CJ Stroud is out, the Texans are a 1.5-point favorite against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Your quarterback goes down. The line doesn't shift that much. So the Texans, I'm sure the defense has a lot to do with it. DeMeco does a good job on the defense. The D is still there. The O is not. But the Texans open as a 1.5-point favorite against the Jags. But here's the thing about this Jags game. And this is what I want to make very clear. This is a must-win. This is a must-win. I know there's always like the literal blowhards who kind of roll their eyes when your season's not over if you lose. But in this instance, if you lose to the Jags, you're 3 games behind them in the loss column, and you're actually 4 games behind them because they have the tiebreaker. You're not making up 4 games. This version of the Texans is not making up 4 games. Furthermore, if you can't beat the Jags with Davis Mills or with CJ Stroud in this situation, you're not beating the Chiefs. You're not beating the Bills. You're not beating the Chargers even, despite the fact their offensive line's depleted, but they can still put a serviceable offense out there. You're not sweeping the Colts. You're probably going to split. So if they can't win this, you're 4 games behind the Jags. That's going to be one of the teams you're looking up at in the standings. You're not going to make that up. So this is a must win if they want to even figure out. And I can't believe I'm mentioning the P word, but if they want to make up any ground and have any puncher's chance, this is a game you're going to have to win. Because I don't anticipate the Jags are going to catch the Colts in the division. So when it comes to potentially wild card and turning it around,
playoffs,
you got to do it. You have to win this game. This is a must-win game. Has to happen. The problem is the issues on offense, they're deeper than CJ Stroud and Davis Mills. This is the same offense with CJ Stroud and Davis Mills. I was talking about this yesterday in the postgame show. And maybe I didn't articulate it well enough. I said 100 times, I don't think Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud. I did want to see what it would look like. It looks the same. They can't score when they get to the 1 or 2 yard line. They settle for field goals. There's high passes over the receivers' heads. Protection isn't great, and communication isn't great, and it doesn't look like a well-oiled machine. It looks the same. It looks the same. CJ is obviously better than Davis Mills, but it looks the same. And the people in Vegas basically have it the same. So I do not look at this as like a massive excuse. The Texans are out of excuses. There's no excuse for the Texans to not be able to go out there and put a good effort together against the Jags. No excuse. No excuse. Again, let me say it again. 2 of your wins came against backup quarterbacks. So go win one with a backup quarterback. If not, then oh well. It's just kind of where they are. Now, DeMeco Ryans, though, DeMeco, I should say, he said a lot of interesting things today, including, and this has been a real big problem for him, in the 3 of the last 4 halves, they have had incompetent clock management. And this isn't some sort of second guessing that he thinks, that he generalizes, that fans and media question. That's not really how we function here. I normally try to go on the record. I supported them kicking the field goal on 4th and 1. The 49ers thing, we talked about this after the win. The end of that first half was a disaster. He's lucky they didn't intercept it, go out of bounds, and kick a field goal. The first half of the game yesterday, they screwed it up. Luckily, they got a botched punt, and they were able to get the ball right back. That was incompetent, too. There was no reason to be aggressive. Fortunately for them, they ended up being able to steal 3 points because of a muff punt by a guy that wasn't used to returning punts. And then the end of the game, where you kill 14 seconds and you punt the ball to Denver, let them keep their 2 timeouts, and give them the ball with 1 minute left, that's inexcusable. DeMeco stands by it, though.
No regrets. Look, we're trying to get in position to score, right? We tried to throw the ball, which had a couple quick options to throw the football, and then get the clock moving, get our 2-minute drive started. It didn't happen.
The ball was thrown to the sidelines. And this goes back to the same old thing. Remember last year when Bobby Slowick threw the ball against the Green Bay Packers to the sidelines when they should have killed clock after they ran the ball twice? It makes you wonder, is it a DeMeco thing? But he's standing by that 4th quarter disaster. He's not even coming in and saying, yeah, maybe we should have figured something out. Maybe we should have done something different and taken it to the house. He's defending it. He's standing by what they did. Throw the ball to Jaden Higgins, go out of bounds. Throw the ball to the sidelines to Christian Kirk, incomplete. And then another pass, incomplete, and you punt to Denver. He's standing by that. That's your coach standing by that. DeMeco. Then we have DeMeco, no O. Then we have, this is in a matter of minutes. This is one of the damneder things that you'll see. We'll get to it in a sec. First, though, let's talk a little bit about Texans turf. I got to talk about something positive before we get to some of the stuff that he said today. But Texans turf is always positive. It's the best thing I did for my house. I shopped around. I've said this 100 times. It was a discouraging process because a lot of these turf guys are slime balls. They're going to give you a minimum. They're going to treat you, if you just have a normal backyard, even a small backyard, they're going to treat you like you're not worth their time. And they're always going to try to upsell you the stuff that doesn't fit best for you. That's not what Dan did. And it was after a handful of bad experiences. I was so discouraged. I wanted the turf, playing surfaces, putting greens, whatever you want. I wanted it. And I finally found the right turf company for me. And Dan and his team took care of me. And let them take care of you. If you want to get in this, fall is the best time to have the turf. We were just out there today playing little baby cornhole with the daughter, hanging out with the dog and the wife. No mud, no insects, nothing, just beautiful. Can't wait to get the fire pit going. If you want to be a part of that, go to texansturf.com. I promise you, Dan is the man, and I was a customer before any of this. So DeMeco Ryans talking about the goal line. Keep in mind, these two quotes are minutes apart. These two quotes are minutes apart. And I don't know if this is just overthinking. I think a lot of people are kind of souring on the way in which DeMeco Ryans speaks. I don't know if they just think it's kind of like blowhardy Bill O'Brien, or if they think that he really just doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to offense. I think there's a combination of both. But this is kind of fascinating that you're talking about these goal line issues, and these two quotes are minutes apart today, talking about those goal line issues. Let's just dive into this, because I think this is a real issue. It's very simple, though. QB sneak. Like QB sneak, QB sneak, QB sneak. And CJ eventually got in when they did it on 4th down. Unfortunately, there was a penalty, but they're still perfect on QB sneaks except when there's a penalty. So I don't know what the thinking is. I think Nick Caley's just scared. And we'll get into the Nick Caley issues in a second. But for whatever reason, they just get scared when they face good teams to run the QB sneak. It's crazy. Nick Caley's scared. He's like the water boy coach. He's like the water boy coach before he finds his mojo, where he's just terrified. Nick Caley is scared. He's scared when they face good teams to run the QB sneak. But listen to this from DeMeco Ryans, and listen to these quotes. They're a few minutes apart. But this is Cody Stutes, my boy, who you can hear with me and see me on SNL Monday through Friday at 4:00. This is him asking about the short yardage blunders. Here's what DeMeco had to say about that.
You guys have had on some of the short yardage plays. Is there an adjustment, a change in the future with how you guys approach those so that you can maybe mitigate some of those issues?
I hope so. We're trying to convert them. So we have to do something different. Obviously, what we're doing, it hasn't worked. So we just got to find a different way.
All right. So he says we got to find a different way there. Okay. So that's the Cody Stutes thing. Then he gets asked about it again. And I didn't understand what the question was, but he gave I guess he thought it was a thoughtful answer. I'm not sure what it was. But here's him going back to the goal line stuff. Here's DeMeco Ryans. Keep in mind, DeMeco, my bad. No, keep in mind that he just said they need to try something different. And this is a matter of minutes, and this is what he's saying later on.
What is, right? We throw the ball on the goal line. We don't get in. Hey, you guys should run the ball more. We run the ball. We don't get in. Hey, you should throw. So there's always a what I would have done different. Look back at it, do it different. Look, I approach the game from a physical mindset of, hey, if you're on the 1 yard line and we got to knock somebody back to get in the end zone, that's how I approach it. And that's how I always approach it. And then when we do get in the end zone on the 4th down, we got a false start. So it's like we got in the end zone. CJ got in, but points are taken off the board because we have a false start. We're not locked in on the snap. So it's just so many things there that goes in. Yeah, there's a physical mindset. That's what this game is built on. You have to have that mindset, and you should want to be in those situations where, hey, we got to knock somebody off the ball to go get 1 yard. If you don't have that mindset, then you're probably not going to get in.
That was minutes apart, guys. That was minutes apart from what he said earlier to that. I don't know how they function. And that's one of the things that I'm starting to really want to try to unravel and figure out. They're not going to tell us. Like DeMeco Ryans can't go up there and be a normal guy at the podium. It's not in his DNA. It's not what he's going to do, and that's just not. And I don't know what it is, but so is he saying to do these things on the goal line? Is he encouraging things to change? I don't know, but I also don't know if he knows, because they look like a disastrous cluster on offense. And it's not at all proportional to what they do on defense. And that's really what the problem is when it comes to DeMeco. And I think the biggest mirror image of what their current problems are is shown by what they've done in the draft day 2 the last 2 years and what they got and how those guys looked when they drafted them. And heading into day 2 of this year's draft, there's a reason that one of my biggest sales pitches was, well, if on the offensive side, they can get guys that impact that side of the rock the way that Kalen Bullock and a 3rd-round pick and Kamari Lassiter, a 2nd-round pick, did the previous season, then they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. And unfortunately for them, despite the fact Jaden Higgins, it seems like when he gets opportunities, he's made plays. When Jalen Noel has gotten opportunities, he's made plays. Those guys are nowhere to be found on a consistent basis. And there have been games, believe this, you're not going to believe this. Jalen Noel played the fewest amount of offensive snaps yesterday. There have been 2 games this year where guys in their first games being active have seen more action than Jalen Noel. One of them was Jared Wayne. Jared Wayne played more snaps than Jalen Noel when he was active. Braxton Berrios played more snaps than Jalen Noel every time he's been active. And maybe there's something to it. I just don't know why they won't say it. Like if it's blocking, okay. If it's not knowing where you're supposed to be, okay. I know Matt Campbell at Iowa State would say if there was something like that. But for whatever reason, it's not the case. And despite the fact you drafted Higgins 34th overall, a year after you drafted Lassiter 42 overall, the immediate impact hasn't been there. And despite the fact you drafted Kalen Bullock 78th overall, the year before you drafted Jalen Noel 79th overall, it doesn't look the same. It can be coaching, it could be development, it could be evaluation, it could be all of the above. But it's confusing and it's pretty difficult to watch. Just how much of a gap there is between offense and defense. And I asked DeMeco this question. I want to know. I want to know why exactly do these guys not make the impact that the guys on defense did? And this is what he said.
Kalen and Kamari had good games yesterday. You immediately trusted them, and they've been consistently impacting the game. What's stopping Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins from doing that early in their career?
You're talking about, 4 completely different guys. I don't think you can there's not apples to apples as you compare those guys. But all our young guys have done a really good job. They're all growing, developing, doing the things that we asked them to do. I think Jay Noel and Jay Higgins have done a really good job of the things we've asked them to do.
Really? Of course it's apples to apples, coach. Of course it's not apples to apples. It's nothing close to that. But I'm simply asking why. Why is that so different? Maybe you should ask him to do more. If you're pleased with what you're getting out of those guys with this offense, then that's a problem, sir. If you're paranoid to come out and say what you're telling them, then that's a problem, sir. Why is it that the guys who provide the most explosiveness on an offense that lacks explosiveness play the least? Why is that? It makes no sense. Apples to apples? Okay. I don't think the CJ Stroud play is the same as the Trevor Lawrence play from last year. I think there's a little bit of a difference in how those things went down. But whenever the simplicity and being a simp benefits DeMeco, he's willing to do it and talk about it. Of course it's not apples to apples. Of course it's not. Then what is it about this to where this happens? There's a number of things. Maybe he's telling Jalen Noel what he needs to do in order to play. Then just be normal. Talk to your fan base. Answer the question. Yeah, he probably needs to line up better. He needs to block, and that will get him on the field. That'll be what gets Jalen Noel on the field a little bit more. You think he's gonna cry? Not everybody's as thin-skinned as DeMeco. And I'm not breaking any news. Not everybody is as thin-skinned to criticism as DeMeco. These guys come from Iowa State. Now, maybe they are telling him that they're doing a great job. And it's just a coincidence that whenever Jared Wayne's active, he plays more than Jalen Noel. It's kind of a dilemma, because am I supposed to take DeMeco at his word? Because at his word, everything's great. Jalen Noel's doing everything we want. Jaden Higgins is doing everything we want. It's great. They're progressing nicely. Okay, I'll take you at your word for that. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not even mentioning the fact that Woody Marks is basically a dump-off option. There's no effort to get Woody Marks out there. You saw what it looks like when you have a rookie running back with elite pass catching skills, and you actually put in effort to getting in the rock. You saw that with Sean Payton yesterday. Scored a touchdown. I'm going to have to put Dyson in timeout. I appreciate you coming through. I don't need like a lesson on how to do stuff on the questions. The questions are fun. I'm not going up there trying to argue like 25, 30 times. But what is it with the offense with DeMeco? What is it? You're really pleased with these guys? You think you can't, like, if you're telling Jalen Noel something, then you don't think he can hear it? What do you think he is, like thin-skinned? Like, come on. I mean, come on. He's fine. He can handle it. He can handle if you say that he's what he's not doing. He would probably appreciate it, honestly. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe DeMeco just doesn't know. Maybe he has no idea what he is or isn't supposed to do. It would make sense. But I also think when you start to develop the mindset of being paranoid, I think that it probably bleeds into the effectiveness you have whenever you're making decisions as a coach. It just comes across as very blowhard head coachy. And the reality is you can be a blowhard head coach and coach for 40 years. But you can't be someone who takes a team to the next level if you have a blind spot and you don't acknowledge the blind spot. It goes back to the word evolve that DeMeco Ryans talks about a lot. He's got to figure out something on offense. I don't think that I don't think that there's some sort of problem that DeMeco Ryans has with hiring first-time offensive coordinators. I don't believe in that. I don't mind hiring a first-time offensive coordinator. You just got to hire the right one. It happens every year in the league. A guy gets an opportunity to call plays for the first time, and there's some success. Like, it happens. There's always examples of it. Ben Johnson had never called plays before the Lions gave him the opportunity. He was good at it. Liam Cohen didn't call plays before Tampa Bay gave him the opportunity. I don't know that Dave Canales did. They both became head coaches. It's not as simple as inexperience. Like, you're giving DeMeco an out when you say that. DeMeco, my bad, no O. You're giving him an out when you say, well, he needs to hire. No, it's not it. There's some sort of philosophy. There's some sort of mentality. Like, you look at the resources. Like, they get rid of Laramie Tunsil, which I was fine with, but then they give Daniil Hunter a 1-year extension when he's an aging player. DeMeco Autry makes more money than 3 of your 5 offensive linemen, starters. That's a reserve D lineman. He makes more than 3 out of 5 starters. You traded 3 premium draft picks to go up and get Will Anderson. Even when you invest in offense, it doesn't pay off. When they actually invest in guys. The players have changed. The guy calling the plays has changed. Yet it looks the exact same. We got to open our eyes and see this. Yesterday on the postgame show, I said that the offense, I didn't notice a difference with Davis Mills versus CJ Stroud. People immediately wanted to go gang and say, oh, you can't talk about the quarterback. That's not my point. That's not my point. I'm not saying Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud. I did want to see what it looked like so I could see if it was the same. I wanted to see what it looked like. Not in this way. I was talking about when he was a little bit banged up against Seattle. I wanted to see what it looked like. And we saw it. They settle for field goals. Same old, same old. They can't score when they get close to the end zone. Same old, same old. There's no creativity. Same old, same old. The personnel's not great. Same old, same old. There's pressure, although I do think Davis might have gotten rid of the ball a little bit quicker. But it's the same old, same old. Quit giving these guys outs. DeMeco said last week, blame me. No problem. No problem. Especially if you're going to go up there, and I don't have a lot in this world. But I do know my words get held against me. My words 100% get held against me. Like, if I'm going to take DeMeco at his word, he's happy that Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel are there. And this is what my problem is. I don't mind coaches going up there and lying with a purpose. Like, even on injuries to a certain point, lying with a purpose. Now, I will say, when a guy's out for the season, you say he's not out for the season. I don't know if that's really helping the player. I also don't think that if you're telling a player something behind the scenes and then you go up and just lie about it to the media, I don't know if that's helping the player. Like, if DeMeco's behind the scenes telling Jalen Noel, man, you need to block better. You need to know where you're lining up. And then he goes up here and just says, yeah, I like what he's doing. You're basically saying he ain't shit. Like, right? Like, it's kind of goes back to the keeping it real goes wrong thing. But lie with a purpose. Lie with a purpose. Don't overthink it. When you start getting that mindset where you're just walking around paranoid and all that, I don't think it's good for you, like, coaching wise. This has been a bad coaching year for DeMeco Ryans. It happens. Nobody's saying fire DeMeco Ryans. They could lose the rest of their games. You're not going to hear me say fire DeMeco Ryans. Do I have questions about DeMeco Ryans and his upside and his blind spot? Yes, I absolutely do. But under no circumstance this year will you hear me say fire DeMeco Ryans. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. I know he likes to simplify when he wants to simplify, when it makes him look better and makes others look worse. When he's talking about media, it's all media, everybody. When it's fans, they'll all second guess you whenever you don't score and all this type of stuff. But when it's something that benefits him, there's like a little bit of nuance. It's not apples to apples, all that. And simplify the most unsimple things, and then it goes like that. But there will be no circumstance on this show where fire DeMeco Ryans is said. Am I skeptical? Yeah. He's hired 2 offensive coordinators, and it's gotten worse, and it looks the same. Yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm going to become even more skeptical once they have to pay guys, and they're going to have to make tough decisions about finances. They already penny pinched the offensive line at this point. But they could lose the rest of their games, and there's not going to be a fire DeMeco Ryans statement made from me. I think eventually he might become king like O'Brien. They act alike. They're very similar. I had someone talking to me the other day. They're like, well, at least he's not Bill O'Brien. At least it doesn't. Dude, they're the same guy. DeMeco Ryans is Patriot way. There's a lot of people, when I said this earlier on in the year, I said that he's Patriot way. He acts just like Caserio. He acts just like O'Brien. It's very similar. He is Patriot way. And people who were kind of like, oh, how could you say that? They're seeing it now. They're seeing it now. This doesn't have to be a finished product. I hope we look back at this year and say, damn, that was a bad year for DeMeco. But you know what? He figured it out. I'm rooting for him. I've stayed rooting for DeMeco Ryans. But I think a lot of people are seeing just how silly this is getting. It's getting extremely silly. And we'll see whether it changes or not. Will he ever find the O? Will DeMeco ever find the O? He's gonna have to figure it out. Now, the good news for him is he can remain doing what he's doing, and he's always gonna have a job that pays him 6 figures. He's always gonna be able to be around football. He's always gonna be able, if he wants to be player first. And he's not going to have to really change anything about himself. That's the luxury that football coaches and guys who possess the God-given ability and talent DeMeco Ryans has. They're always going to be alive. No one's questioning DeMeco Ryans as a defensive-minded coach. I wish that they could find the equivalent on offense that they have with DeMeco Ryans. If they had the equivalent of the offensive mind that DeMeco possesses when it comes to defense, they would be probably the 1 seed right now in the league, and they would be a Super Bowl favorite. They don't have that. And sometimes one comes at the sake of another. That's why when you say defensive-minded coach, it's not an unfair stereotype. There's been a lot of defensive-minded coaches that just haven't been able to get offenses going. There's some offensive-minded coaches who haven't been able to figure out the defense. I would love for DeMeco Ryans to find somebody that can take care of the offense without him even having to worry about it. That's ideal. That would be great. Josh McCown, what'd you know? But everybody's rooting for DeMeco. Will he ever find the O is the real question. What is the state of this team? Let's go to one of the leaders. Sometimes we don't hear from him, but Dalton Schultz is out there battling. Caught up with him after the game. Here's what Dalton Schultz had to say about the state of this squad. As we try to talk about the state of the Texans offense and why this is a massive must-win against Jacksonville. Here's Dalton Schultz.
Especially down there, like we had the ball at the 1, we ran it 4 times. One was a false start, but I mean we couldn't get a yard. So, they came to play in those situations, and we just weren't able to execute.
Did you have a time during the week where you wondered am I going to feel good enough by the end, or you kind of knew all along that you'd be able to play and answer the call?
I mean, dude, I wish I would have known like Monday, like that I was going to feel amazing by Saturday. Like you just never know. You take it day by day.
Don, did you at all feel like maybe the energy had been out after CJ had gone down?
Not really. Not like zapped. I think that's a bad word for it. Like if anything, it kind of fired a lot of guys up. Obviously, you never want to see your quarterback go down. I mean, watching the playback, I don't know how we punted after that. But I think anytime that you have a big name guy like that go down, especially your quarterback, like it sucks. But like, dude, you got to find a way to bounce back.
Don, as one of the team leaders, you guys are now 3-5. How do you guys kind of bounce back from this? What's your message to the younger guys?
Dude, don't change. Don't try to do more. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to, all of a sudden, it's like you feel desperate and you got to do. Dude, your process is your process. It's been like that my whole career, everywhere that I've been. Like, you cannot start freaking out when shit doesn't go your way. So I think to us, it's like, dude, you approach the next week the same week with just a little bit more intent, a little bit more focus. Because, I mean, that's the name of the game, dude. Everybody in this league is getting better every week, and if you're not getting better, like, you're going to get left behind.
You guys have been in this position before, a couple years back. CJ missed a couple games. You guys were able to win a big game in Tennessee and miss that. How much can you draw from that experience to just kind of help you guys keep things on track going into this week?
I don't know if you can, like, draw from that. Like, it's a totally different team, different players, different scheme. Like, so I don't know if there's a lot of parallels in that, but there is the parallel of, listen, you're up, it's your turn, go make a play. Like, it's your time to execute. It's your time to step up. Like, for every guy that went down, it's like we need the next guy to come in and just be consistent. Just execute. Do what you need to do. Do what we're asking of you.
You're always pretty blunt and honest about how you feel. Do you feel this team has what it takes to turn it around?
Absolutely. Like, no question in my mind. Guys are built with the right stuff. We got the right guys in the building. I believe in the coaches. Like, I know that goes both ways for us. At the end of the day, dude, another one-score game that we just couldn't find ourselves on the end.
All right, so he says he believes. Do you believe is the real question? It right now, I mean, I know people don't want to hear this. It's 2 winnable games in front of you, and we set this out after week 3. This isn't like some adjusted mindset type of bullshit that you'll get fed from, I don't know, some Homer type stuff. 5-5 was what we said after they started 0-3. Now, you had a chance to get greedy. And I know a lot of times when you have goals in front of you and all of a sudden it looks like you can get a little bit greedy, there's a sense of disappointment whenever you're not able to take advantage of that. I get it. But that was what the opportunity was, and that's where they're at. Now, if they go 5-5, they're still going to have a lot of work cut out for them. But if you don't win this Jacksonville game, the season's over. Like, as far as making the playoffs, and yes, Jim Moore, we are talking about it.
Playoffs?
If your goal is to make the playoffs, then you have to win this game, because the loss column with Jacksonville, who's a team that you're chasing, you're not going to make up for 4 games in 8. That's not possible, because the Jags are most likely not going to catch the Colts. Maybe they can. They're not too far off. They're a game off. But you still got 2 with the Colts. But if you lose this game to the Jags, they're 6-3. You're 3-6. The standings will say you're 3 games behind. But because they've beat you twice, they'll possess the tiebreaker, and you're 4 games behind Jacksonville. You can't do that. you can't be 4 games behind with 8 remaining, and really not an easy 8. So you got to win that game. And then if you do win that game, you're looking 500 in the eyes, except this time they're going to be in their comfort zone, the Texans. Because instead of facing a good team like Seattle or Denver, don't know how good Denver is, you're going to be facing the Tennessee Titans. Worst team in the league. One of them. It's the opportunity that's in front of them. The question is, do you really think they can do that? I can already hear some of you people. I do mean you people that y'all don't believe that they can win 2 ball games in a row. I think Davis Mills can win a game against Jacksonville. I think you give Davis Mills a week to prepare, he can win a game against Jacksonville. They can lose too. But there's a reason they're favored. Their defense is good. They get another crack at Trevor Lawrence. Maybe they're forced to figure something out. I don't know. I also hear this thing about DeMeco Ryans being a walk-around head coach and more involved in the offense. I don't know that you want that. I don't think you want DeMeco Ryans around the offense more. I don't know. Like, what makes anyone think that's a good thing? It's like when people say, well, Hannah McNair is going to take up for what? For what? Like, what? Why would you want that? That sounds a little bit crazy to me. It's also people saying, well, she helped get Jack out of here. Well, first of all, I think there were other people that maybe helped push it a little bit. The other thing is she was drinking the Kool-Aid early on. So, yeah, she might have figured it out. But I don't know if you want DeMeco around your offense. I think you just need someone that can handle the offense to stay away from it. And I want it to be someone that's well networked. I know that it always goes back to this with me. Josh McCown is my guy. He has never called plays, but I can promise you he can put a staff together. DeMeco hasn't really been able to put a staff together. Defensively, he's been okay. But on offense, they kept the same staff here, and then they brought in Nick Caley. I want Ben McDaniels. I don't know if I want any more guys that are even like arm's lengths away from the Patriots staff at this point. I've had enough of it. I want a complete offensive overhaul, and I want them to hire an offensive coordinator that has enough of an opinion and enough connections to where he can bring in his own staff. Josh McCown can do that. He can also be a leader. But that's what DeMeco needs. It's not a matter of has he called plays before or not. It's a matter of can this guy actually hire a staff, and is he actually going to have enough nuts to say, no, we're not keeping these guys who were part of a losing offensive staff around. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Like when you really think about it, and Stu's kind of said this in passing, and I'm sure, and there are examples in the NFL where it's worked. But you say, hey, Nick Caley, come on through. We want you to be the offensive coordinator. But by the way, we're going to keep the running back coach. We're going to keep the receiver coach. We're also going to keep the tight end coach. Offensive line coach, he was actually an assistant last year, and I actually think Cole Popovich has done a good job. And this was one of Nick Caley's only decisions because Nick Caley knows Cole Popovich. But we're going to keep him. And then we're going to keep the quarterback coach too, even though the quarterback regressed last year. But other than that, we want you to go figure something out. I'm not sitting here saying Nick Caley's some victim or would have like something going, but that's kind of strange, isn't it? Like when you look at it, and this is hindsight by me. For sure. I think what we've seen is enough to acknowledge the Nick Caley thing is not great. But that's also kind of weird, right? That you just brought back the whole staff? I don't know. I think McCown probably runs the O'Connell system now. I think it's the Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota / McVay. I think that's his offense. I mean, he's been in an extra coach in pretty much every offensive system you can imagine. But I think at this point it's O'Connell. I know he was in Carolina briefly, But I think it would basically be Minnesota O'Connell, like the system that you want to run. I know he would do an excellent job with the quarterback. I know he has who knows how many people that he could bring to the staff. It's going to happen. Like someone's going to do it. And it'll be just interesting to see what that looks like when it does happen. I'm down with Mike McDaniel too. Maybe me and Mike McDaniel after practice can get on that
high-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Let me hit that vape, Mike. Let me hit that vape. He's California sober now, right?
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Yeah, sign me up for Mike McDaniel. I'm good with that too. Although I just don't know, like, does he want to work for DeMeco? No, they're buddies. What if he wants to go back to San Francisco and have his job? Him and Shanahan are tight. What if he wants to go there and revive his career? Where do you want to go? But he will definitely be one of the hottest names. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he gets fired. But then that's also kind of weird, right? That you got to fire Caserio at that point, right? Because think about this. And I'm not worried about CJ Stroud learning new systems and all that type of stuff. Sam Darnold's learned 3 new systems the last 3 years. He's completely revived his career. I'm not worried about that. Figure that out. I don't know why you would want him to run this Patriot system anyways. I thought it was a weird thing. I thought we were getting a hybrid, like they said, with the Rams. But why would DeMeco, how weird would he look if he goes from the Kubiak system from San Francisco, a year with the Patriot system, and then back to the system? I don't know that he ever wanted to leave this system. I think it was a compromise between he and Caserio. Very obvious. DeMeco got to pick his offensive guy. It didn't work out. And then Nick Caserio,
damn it, Bobby,
took it as an opportunity to bring in that blowhard system that he was a part of for so many years. And you hear, it's funny, you know, I asked Caserio about the New England system. He just lights up like a kid on Christmas talking about it. And then you ask DeMeco about the Kubiak system, and he just absolutely raves. I think DeMeco might want to go back to it, but I mean, it would look weird. It would look really weird if he just went back to it. But these are the 4 issues I have with the current state of the offense. And I'm also going to get into something that I think could impact this team when it comes to CJ Stroud's concussion. That isn't just a short-term thing outside of the obvious that you probably have to play a football game this Sunday without CJ. Be sure to like the video, subscribe right along, and listen and watch SNL. But these are my 4 issues with this offense right now. 5-5 still attainable. Got to reset that. But these are my 5 issues with this offense. Number 1, they're scared and they're fake brave. I think Nick Caley is scared to run the QB sneak against good teams. He waited till 4th down. CJ got in. That's what DeMeco said. And they avoided it, though, early on, much like they have against good teams all year long. I think that was a mistake, and I think it's embarrassing. But when they play a bad team, they're willing to run the QB sneak. Hell, they're willing to get creative. Baltimore Ravens, we're beating your ass. We're going to throw a deep ball to Christian Kirk to get him going. We're also going to run a play to Jalen Noel in the flats. Get him targeted. More targets than he had all day yesterday. We're going to be extra aggressive. But when it's knuckle up time and we're lined up against the Buccaneers, the Seahawks, and the Broncos, we're not going to run the QB sneak. So I think they're scared and they're fake brave. I also think the offense has personnel issues. This is a Caserio thing. The offensive line, not built great. And they have personnel issues. Very clear. They got massive personnel issues on offense. That's apparent. They also have no feel. We've seen them on 3 out of the last 4 halves to end games. They have no feel. And this isn't like the DeMeco Ryans generalized notion that, oh, well, you're just going to second guess it if it's not there. No, man. Like there is absolutely no feel of when you should and should not be aggressive. This is while just watching the game. What in the hell are you doing against San Francisco trying to throw the ball 16-7? What in the hell are you doing after you settle for a field goal on 3rd and 1? What in the hell are you doing deciding that suddenly you got to be aggressive? They have no feel. And they also have no creativity. Unless they're blowing out the Ravens and they want to get Noel involved, or unless they're forced to use rookies when someone gets hurt, they have no creativity. This offense is not creative at all. By any sense of the word, they are not creative at all. It's awful. It's awful. The impact of the CJ Stroud concussion. This is something that I want to touch on, that I think could have some long-term effects. And I think he's going to be okay. It's unfortunate that we've become kind of desensitized to these types of things. But I think obviously you have to win a game without your starting quarterback, which is not ideal. Because Jacksonville would almost be a bunny with CJ Stroud at quarterback. It would feel like you would be in a very strong position to win the game with CJ Stroud in the lineup. You can still win with Davis Mills, but that's the obvious. Like, your season's on the line in a must-win game and you don't have your starting quarterback. The thing, though, I do wonder, and this has been one of the things that with CJ Stroud that I've kind of mentioned a lot, even going back to college, is, does CJ Stroud now become kind of hesitant to run the ball consistently? Because it's something that CJ Stroud has really hesitated to do consistently. And now that he had a concussion, could we see a situation where CJ Stroud is not willing to run as much? I think that could be the long-term effects that we need to keep an eye on. But if his surroundings don't get better, then it won't matter. Because we can say whatever we want about CJ Stroud, he's got to play better, all that type of stuff. The surroundings, and it goes back to DeMeco, they're not good, and he's got to figure it out too. So that's just kind of where it's at. Big opportunity ahead, 5-5 still alive, and they're favored against the Jags. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. This has been Reaction Monday, third stream of the day. Tomorrow, the Texans are off. We are not, though. SNL live at 4, Locker Room again at 10:30. We'll go on to Jacksonville, take a close look at what's going on with them, and then we'll get ready for Wednesday where we'll hear from DeMeco and Davis Mills. Podium day, Davis Mills. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all.
Daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give. We got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number you look. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localized, every angle's what we really do. We the source.